Hello again, people, and welcome to yet another Thief Gold playthrough streaming version of this, should I say. But yeah, this is, um, I guess you could say this is another attempt of doing a level that has been driving me insane with the amount of rope bugs and other random issues I've been having lately. So, yeah, definitely not pretty. But what can you do about it? That's what IM mode's all about. Patience, reattempting, and trying to drive forward. Even though, personally, I would prefer it if the problem was due to a challenge or something like that, and me feeling the challenge rather than me dying continuously to the rope arrows. Of course, I've dealt with this problem before. Back when I did the sword in my regular playthrough, I had this problem. Apparently, now it's switched levels on me, and it's going to be doing this for this level in particular. So, we're just going to try this again. This video might be very redundant to the last video. If so, I probably won't be uploading it to YouTube just because it's the same thing, basically. But otherwise, this will get uploaded hopefully, as we may hopefully make it. Let's try and keep this optimistic. We haven't had that many deaths, honestly. The last playthrough was only about like 4 hours, I think. Maybe 4 or 5 hours, I forget. But overall, I think if you count out everything and how long I've been taking this level, it's been about 10 hours if I want to calculate everything out. Either 10 or 11 hours. But in any event, it's starting to get a little bit long, and it would be nice to get out of this level. So, without further ado, let's actually get to it and see how it goes. Since this is the first time around, I'm going to be doing the more of an explanation route. Hopefully, because this is the first time of the night, first time I'm doing an explanation route and all that, hopefully that will mean things will go better. I have some plans potentially which may help. I'm not sure if it'll help, but we can at least try them. I've seen over the course of the last few playthroughs not to be so reckless, I guess you could say, with my rope arrows, and almost try and inch my way and just sit there and tap it over and over till I get it. It will work, hopefully, with the rope. Not sure how it will or won't, but it will definitely cut down the number of potential deaths due to it, if maybe one of these times I can cling to it. So yeah, I've seen that I can tap myself onto a rope and it will work, which is something I wasn't sure about before, and why I wasn't really worried about doing that. Was because I thought if I tried doing that, it was showing the potential for it not working, and that was what was causing the glitches in the first place. Now I don't feel so confident about that. I'm going to be changing my play style. Anyway, if you've been following the stream but you ignored the last one, because like I said, this is basically a redo of the video series as well. It's going to be that we just finished with the Mage Towers, and that we've gotten the first of our 4 talismans. We've gotten the Earth Talisman so far, and now we're going after another one of them. This happens to be Dumbass Boredom's favorite level, which is very exciting. Even though his favorite level is driving me up a wall because of how frustrating it is with all the rope bugs. Beyond that, I want to say something else, but it's slipping my mind at the moment. Hopefully it'll come back to me sometime during this playthrough. If not, I guess it wasn't that important. So, without further ado, let us start this. Another keyhole! What keeper scene do we have today? The knowledge of those who came before could neither be disseminated or destroyed. Its power would be a dangerous tool in the wrong hands, but would also ensure against future cataclysm. At that time, we chose to maintain it with writings preserved in excellent locations.
The Keepers have hidden the Talisman of Fire in a place they call the Lost City. Some kind of cataclysm buried the place underground ages ago. The keepers have sealed the access to the city, a cleft in the river bottom near the east side. If the materials in the library are right, the strange stone I found can be used to open that seal. I've also got a map. It's so old the edges crumble in my hands. It shows the city, or at least how it was back then. I hope the old place hasn't changed much.
So yeah, today we'll be going back to the Thief the Dark Project levels. Of course, this level has changed quite a bit between editions, Thief Gold and Thief the Dark Project. This is probably the most changed of all levels. And this is the Lost City. Originally, we would have the Water Talisman as well. And also, when you picked up the Water Talisman, they had Guardians. In this case, it would be Craymen. And yeah, so we completely lost that whole part. In fact, Craymen are not going to be in this edition of the level. So, very interesting that they got rid of that whole portion, but like I said, that's because they plan to use it instead and make the Water Talisman and one of the further levels, one of the new Thief Gold levels, the one we have yet to play. So that'll be up and coming. But for the time being, the sealed entrance to Lost City is supposed to be at the bottom of a river around here somewhere. Getting past that is the first step. The Lost City must have a lot of treasure in it. Pick up some. If you look at the objectives, it'll say 2,000 in loot, including 500 in gems. This is actually pretty unique because most levels up to this point, in fact I think all levels up to this point, have required you just to get a certain amount of loot. This level, beyond just a number of loot, you have to pick up a particular number of gems. Gems are one of the 3 types of loot. You can get gold, gems, and I believe it's jewels, but I don't have the other one on the top of my head. I always forget that third one. And yeah, I usually just remember the total. I don't usually pay attention to my other numbers. Usually I'm not a big fan of like stats and numbers in general, so I pay attention to as few of them as possible. So the only one I usually care about is the total loot value. But in levels like this, it can be sometimes rather particular because you need to find certain pieces that will otherwise not hit your quota. But usually I don't tend to care about it. So beyond all that, we also have 3205 loot, I believe. At this point, I don't even need to look it up because we've played this level so many times that it's pretty fresh in my head. And I'm pretty confident I know the location of all the loot because I've gotten the loot so many times in my previous playthroughs. So, this should be pretty sad. I did most of everything beyond just getting out of the place, but yeah. Rope bugs kill me at like the last possible point before getting back. So, yeah, not fun. An expedition the Keeper sent once to... An expedition the Keeper sent once to map the Lost City never returned. They'll owe you a favor if you can recover the medallions from the remains. The Talisman of Fire was hidden in the Lost City long ago. Time for it to go. Finding the Talisman is well and good, but you'll have to get back out for it to be worth it. So yeah, this is pretty much a simplistic get in, get out style mission with getting some gold as usual. And really the only thing that stands out is the whole get the Keeper medallions. Also beyond all that, we have no kill enemies, nothing about don't kill anyone because of course this is a monster based level. There is, it's a city that no one has been to. That's why it's the Lost City. So therefore we don't have to worry about sneaking around people in this mission. Okay, with all that in mind, we also have, whatchamacallit, let me get to the store, first of all. You don't have to worry about to check this screen anymore. But one thing I have to mention is the fact that we have the stone key. This stone ought to unlock the Keeper seal on the Lost City. Something I want to mention to you guys, the Haunted Cathedral level, if I was, going back to there, we did pick up the stone seal. And as you saw, that didn't seem to matter. When we dropped it again, it seemed to still register as a pickup in our inventory, which made us complete the mission automatically. which means that most likely it wouldn't have affected us later on. The sewers don't really transfer over. However, it is important to note that perhaps, who knows, it may have been an Easter egg, but I doubt it. But in any event, we will never know the case because I use a level select feature, should I say. My level select feature basically is that I have each level already saved with the maximum number of loot. That way I can preload it at any time and start playing the level. Now, while all that's well and good, that means that when I want to do like a playthrough like this, and I want it to be official and whatnot, I have to do it from the level that, I either have to do a quick save right before the end of the level, or I have to save, the quick save file at the beginning of the next level, or some other thing like that. Which means I definitely have to be on my case if I don't get the maximum number of loot. That's not exactly going to be a problem for this level, but it'll be probably a problem for upcoming levels, as this is like the last level that this is very fresh in my head, the maximum number of loot. So, after this point, it's probably going to get a bit rusty. Just letting you know, I'm going to hunt around definitely and scour everywhere for the last little bit of loot. If we're not able to find the last little bit of loot to the point that it becomes extreme and I eventually give up, which I really hope never happens, but who knows exactly what will occur, I will use a quick save feature as my way of basically making it fair. So either A, I'm going to find the max loot, or B, use the quick save feature. But, like I said, my determination is to find the max loot, so that should not be a problem. I'm going to hunt around as much as possible. Like I said, but this was the last level I ever used like a guide recently or anything for figuring out what the max value was. Like I said, I was trying to do that at one point, and then I decided to get back into this series, so the time I was expecting this to occur, and therefore I was able to look up a bit more than I normally would have. But helped me up to this point conveniently. Probably won't help me up and coming. Like I said, this stone ought to unlock the Keeper Seal in the Lost City. That's the key. Everything else looks recognizable beyond the gas arrow, which we can buy. The gas arrow tells us, this arrow explodes on impact to a cloud of knockout gas. Put most living creatures inside its area to sleep. It does not arc in flight, so aim at the top of the bow sight. And that basically is comparable to the fire arrow. Both the gas arrow and the fire arrow have elemental crystals that shoot in a straight line. They basically work the way they do in nature, like I said back with the fire arrow. And the idea is that it travels in a straight line because its element travels in a straight line. Fire is not affected by gravity, and neither is gas. While water and earth are affected by gravity. They both fall down to the ground. It's a very interesting feature that they add. And also, this is basically your instant knockout thing. It's basically, if you were using a blackjack on someone, you can knock them out. But this, even when they're fully alert coming at you, this is one way to knock them out. So they're brilliant for mess-ups. They're also brilliant for unavoidable situations where you have to knock them out, where you can't reach them with a blackjack. Stuff like that. Now, if you had to debate and say, also a flash bomb is a mess-up fixer, which one do I prefer out of the two mess-up fixers to use for such mistakes generally? I would say a flash bomb, because A, a flash bomb means that, you don't have to knock back an arrow. Knocking back an arrow can sometimes be slow, so when enemies charge it towards you, it takes a second for you to, be moving back for the enemy coming towards you. But the main reason, beyond the fact that the price is twice as much and a little bit more, so it's 500 versus 200, the gas arrow tends to be ineffective against certain type of enemies. The flash bomb, there is not an enemy in Thief Gold we will ever have a problem against the flash bomb. Every enemy is invulnerable to it. And then therefore, as we also have every enemy invulnerable to the blackjack. Well, generally, anything that can't be like sword flats or something like that I'm referring to. Of course, things like hammer haunts and other things we've encountered like apparitions can't be killed by using your blackjack, but that stuff doesn't matter as we can sword fight it. With things that are able to be knocked out, well, everything's immune to a flash bomb and a blackjack. there are things that are invulnerable to a gas arrow, though, such as, in particular, air mages. So, yeah, as you saw in the previous mission, we could have had lots of problems with air mages had we not had, like, maybe flash bombs. Flash bombs are much more of a savior than gas arrows are in that sense. So yeah, in general, I tend to prefer flash bombs as my protection. Gas arrows are nice against things that are knockoutable to preserve them for the ones that are immune to it. But in general, I tend to always be a flash bomb person more than a gas arrow person. But I'd use both if I had both. And I'm the type that likes to have both on me. So, without further ado, I've ranted for long enough. We also have a papyrus. Acquaintance will sell you a commission he has to pick up some antiquities which you may be able to find around the lost city. That's 150 of our gold, so we'll get that commission. Alright, so now I'll buy a bunch of water arrows. You want to buy all water arrows in this mission. It's very important, in my opinion. There we are, 25 water arrows. I'll get both flash bombs, just because I'm paranoid. And I'll get both healing potions, because I tend to get injured in the early portions of this level rather quickly. So I'd rather have something on hand to heal myself. There are some areas which I find it rather unavoidable to get injured. So, very important I have something on me. Well, there are ways to avoid it, but ways I would rather not take, like claiming a rope arrow and stuff like that. So, very important for me to take that. I'll take a gas arrow, just because we don't really need a breath potion and broadheads are useless. And we have 5 rope arrows here we could buy. I'm just going to take one, and we already have one to start with. And we can easily get one not too far from the start. So we'll have 3 rope arrows, which is as many as we'll ever really need in this mission. So I feel pretty confident with that, but I will buy a few broadheads since we can't afford that. And there we are. 1 gas arrow, a papyrus, 2 healing potions, 2 flash bombs, 22 broadheads, 2 rope arrows, 25 water arrows, a key, and some lockpicks. That all looks good. Let's start the mission. Now I want to test the video, so I'm going to hit my alt key as usual. And then I'm going to check my Twitch stream and see how I'm doing there. Bear with me, folks. I have to actually load it up because I was not smart enough to have it up this time. But generally, I don't like having it up anyways. I tend to speak over myself and it gets chaotic. So it's good to have it prepared like this. 1 second. Have it up this time. That seems pretty good. And 1 last second, I'm going to make sure, as I sounded funny on my microphone, I want to make sure my volume levels are good. And they aren't. Wow. So there we are. Much, much better. 50 for my microphone levels. So yeah. As we haven't actually done much of anything, I'm not really going to worry about restarting. Beyond the fact that, you heard me be able to talk before. It was pretty clear because everything was silent beyond the humming of my game. So, yeah. Plus, I have a fail stream. If you need to, watch the beginning of that. We haven't actually started the mission proper yet, so you could watch that narrative, get the same facts about the arc of the gas arrow being much like the fire arrow, and how both work off their elements. This is basically lesser like than the flash bomb for being a mess upper because of various features such as it, being instantaneous more with the flash bomb if you know how to use it, and the fact that, well, it's also good, it's cheaper and it allows for every enemy to be knocked out, and various other things like that. I also talked about how we had the key even though we shouldn't have because of it being picked up, dropped in the Haunted Cathedral. So I also mentioned the fact that, well, it didn't really matter because, we used a level select feature to get here because I use a level select with maximum loot. So I talked about that. I talked about the, what else did I talk about? I listed off the various objectives about being pretty straightforward. The only thing we need that's different is some keeper medallions. Beyond that, it's just our normal get loot. Our loot total is going to be 3205. And yeah, I think that's pretty much summarizes most of the stuff that was important that we talked about. Just redundantly stating everything, and probably you heard it, but I want to make sure you heard it again. So then, mind, let's actually read this papyrus that we bought. Sangar, let me know if you ever come across any good antiquities in your explorations. I'd be particularly interested in any ritual headdresses and masks. The gold and enamel work for Sirik is increasingly rare, and I need to point out that if you ever found something dating back to precursors, I'd make you a rich man. Bram Gervasius. So yeah, Gervasius wants us to get some masks for him. Also, this happens to be Dumbest Mordum, a very good friend of mine who's always, inviting me to his playthroughs and whatnot, and is sometimes in mine. Usually because of time differences, meaning that he ends up not being able to come on mine as much as I would like. But yeah, he is a very good friend of mine. Talk all the time. Probably my best friend actually. And yeah, this happens to be his favorite mission. Definitely not mine after the whole rope bug issues, but that definitely means that somebody likes this mission a lot. That's very good. Whoop. Nothing around here. Well then, let's just continue forward. Also, this is Garrett's home. You remember it from back in Assassins? This is the area we ended the mission. However, if you notice this is a gate texture. So most likely, this means we did not actually see Garrett's home in Assassins. That we actually went through like a gate and went to another part of the city. Just an interesting fact that we've never seen Garrett's house yet. So let's drop in here. And there's nothing of point in this well. We shall get out of there. We dropped into that well before and there was nothing. This area is now darkened up. Before it was lit up. In fact, a lot of areas were like that dark when they were light. And this area used to be a burning furnace and now it's empty. Once again, a darkened area, but it used to be light. And let's explore this part of the city. Towards the waterfall. That's the gate forward. It's been locked though, so we can't go that way. Let's go over here, towards the other one, which is also locked, with a similar gate texture to the one near Garrett's house. Or should I say, lead into Garrett's house. But I said that wasn't actually Garrett's house. We'll fight against the water here. I get this close, but I can't really get much further, sadly. I have to swim down this way. Where, if you notice that stone area, yep, that's the way to the Lost City. This fits in there pretty clearly. And yeah, this was something that we saw back at Assassins. I was frobbing it. It was frobbable. I kept talking about it and saying now that it was weird that we couldn't get in there. Well, that was why. Because if they were actually keeping a sense of continuity between these two levels and making that sign down there pretty clear that that would be the way forward in time. But at the time we didn't have the way to get in there. Now we do. Now we can explore what's behind that stone seal. So now, something that you probably won't figure out without like a guide or whatnot is to shoot rope barrels up here to this window. You'll climb up this, and then you shoot across. And now from here, you angle yourself and drop down. Ta-da! And you land right in these crates if you jump closer to the wall instead of trying to jump over. Just need this loot, all the rest is junk cups. Then we have a few arrows here. Rope arrow and a few broadheads. Alright, these crates, Thief 1 crate mechanics stink to the point that they are a pain to get up on. As you see, even if we do get on them, Garrett will just gasp. We can't really get up there with these crates, sadly. The way we have to get out is by using another rope arrow like we did before. Of course, getting out's a lot harder than getting in my opinion. Because a lot of it has to do with positioning. You gotta angle yourself upwards like this. Then you basically gotta jump over like so. That was actually perfectly executed on my first try. I'm pretty happy with that. Yes, I did, Hemebond. I increased my bitrate. No, actually, I didn't decrease it. I decreased it. That's right. I made it down to whatever you said to put it to. The 2200, I believe it is. Why? Is it lagging again? Please don't tell me it's lagging again. Let me actually check my settings for a second. See what my settings are, just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it should still be at 2200. Um, do, and it says it is at 2400. There it is, 2400. Oh boy, it's buffering again. And it's at 2400. Oh boy, why is it buffering? Hmm. Now, what's the problem with this? It's still at 2400, yet now it's. Yes, it is. 2.4 megahertz per second, 1080p. And according to this, it says it has had no drop frames yet. 30 FPS, 2,490 kilobytes per second. I don't think so. Honestly, before it was at 32. I think it was at 3200 last time. Yeah, I believe it was 3200 was the sentence last time. I don't believe we reduced anything else. So, but I couldn't get up to 6 megabytes per second. It won't allow me to get higher than 35,000 if I'm correct, and that would be only 3.5. So I don't know what to do with that. Yeah, that's what I don't get. If other streams seem fine for you, it should be my stream. The other thing is that other people have said, I haven't seen other people have complaints then, but people are finicky sometimes and probably won't tell me these type of things. So I don't really know what to do with this, honestly. I'm not sure what I should play around with to change. What was my upload? What is my upload speed, you mean? I'll have to do a new speed test probably just to figure that out. Because I forget off the top of my head. Bear with me as I. Yeah, I don't remember going that low last time. I thought it was 20 something. It probably was 2400. Let me see here. Doing a speed test right now. And it is telling me that it is. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Gotta wait for this download speed to finish up. Okay, now we're getting to upload speed, and it is going to be. So far it's around 10, but it's going up to 11 now. My router should tell me. It says it's 12.02 megabytes per second is my upload speed. Yeah, my downloads 92.38 megabytes per second. Uploads 12.02 megabytes per second. Ping is 31 ms milliseconds. Megaseconds. Not sure about that one. Yeah, that's exactly what the max that OBS will allow. So, yeah, I have a very fast upload speed that will be able to handle this. So, if my upload speed is fast enough for this, why am I not able to upload it? Which would you think would be better? I'm not sure which one would be better. Would decreasing the stream resolution or decreasing the bitrate? Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know which would be better to do. Reducing resolution. Alright. Seven. Now I just have to remember where on earth you go to reduce the resolution. Bear with me a second. I have to figure out where. I'm seeing Matt's bitrate for this. Let me see here. It's gotta be somewhere. Oh, here it is. Base resolution. Yeah, it wasn't stream settings, it was video under my settings in OBS. So 720 would be, I think it's 1280. I don't know, 780p I don't usually play with. Yeah, and it's 1280 by what? Don't like that aspect ratio. Would it be the same aspect ratio? 1920 by 1080 would be 16 by 9, so would that be the same as it's still a 16 by 9 resolution? Not a bit. Or is that the width? Yeah, that would be a width, so 720 should replace that. And then would it be a 1080? 1280 by 720? There we are, that makes sense. Yep, that seems to make sense. That's a 69 resolution, so I'll say that's what it's supposed to be. Thank you. Knew something like that, but like I said, I don't usually play with many foreign resolutions beyond my base resolution. You know, I know 1920 by 1080, but beyond that, I don't usually goof around with them. So thank you for telling me. Alright, so we're going to try this, load it up, and let's see what you see. How's the video looking to you right now? Jump around a little bit. Whack the signpost, because whack it. Dive into a well. Just to do something nonsensical. Just to check video. Oh, you have to restart the stream as well? Okay. Oh boy. Okay, so 1 second, I'll stop the stream and start it again.